during the regular year. The Mets were 4 for 4 in stolen bases against the Astros. So our first real cat and mouse situation is right now. No score, bottom of the third, 1 out.
Mookie Wilson, Dykstra, Backman, and Strawberry all have the green light. They only have no-go signs.
Mookie holding. Big breaking ball. Boy, did you see Dykstra flinch, duck, and back out of there. Wow.
It was that slow curveball. He starts it right at him, and you can see Dykstra back out. Right here, he gives a lot of ground. He thinks it's going to be way inside. And look at Gedman bearing down more to get the strike and was worried about the runner.
1 ball, 1 strike. You remember Dykstra had the big triple against Bob Knepper in the 9th inning of the winning game. And it was Dykstra who was low bridged by Nolan Ryan with one of those 95-mile-an-hour fastballs, and he then dug back in and hit a curveball into left field for a base hit. And they're really watching Mookie.
Surprised he's not just trying to hold that ball and take the spring out of Mookie's legs, but he's going to try to wear him out by throwing over there, which is another way of getting that runner to lose the spring in his legs.
1-1. There he goes. Pitch is high. Gedman is late.
He had a tremendous jump. A great piece of base running by Mookie. It's a straight steal. Look at that head looking towards second base. And Gedman did everything he could to get him, but he really had no chance. He gets into it, guns it. Good ball to handle, but you'd have to blame that on Hurst. And now Gedman wants to go out and talk to his pitcher. And it's the obvious situation of changing signs with the man on at second base.
If there is one decided edge, it's the overall speed and range of the Mets against the Red Sox. Plus, of course, remember that in this World Series, Whitey Herzog's idea has finally borne fruition, and the commissioner has used the designated hitter rule. No DH in the National League Park and DH in the American League Park, and that could be a big disadvantage for Boston. 2-1. Turned him around. Ball 3. Almost got him.
It was the fastball. Dykstra, he hangs in a long time.
Listen, after being low bridged by a 95 Ryan job, that wasn't too much.
But you know, this guy coming up here used to go against batting machines, and he kept moving closer to the machine, closer to the machine. His time is called now, something out in left field. I asked him about that. He said he gave himself 3 years. He said, I wanted to go to the big league. So he went down and hit against the pitching machine, and he'd begin at 60 feet, and then he'd move closer and turn the speed of the machine up. He said, I wanted good bat speed.
That's what they ought to do tomorrow in batting practice, because they're going to be looking at either Gooden or Clemens. You might as well hit about 50 feet in front of the plate.
It's about what it'll seem like.
3-1 to Dykstra. 1 out in the third. No score. Right. 3-2.
That's what he does well. He'll make that pitcher work. He's trying to get on to get Hernandez up there.
Boy, it's hand blowing time on the old plantation. Cold in New York. 3-2 to Dykstra. Bruce Hurst, the 13-game winner during the regular season, trying to get the Red Sox off on the right foot. Pride of St. George, Utah. 3-2. Fouled away off to the left and out of play. There's Keith Hernandez on deck, bare armed.
In a familiar pose, he says, I have to be on my knee in the on-deck circle because I want to see how the pitcher works the hitter in front of me, especially if he's a left-hand pitcher.
Another thing, we told you the story about his brother Gary. Well, Gary's here tonight, so it'll save him a call. 3-2 to Lenny Dykstra. Mookie Wilson at second base. 1 out in the third. No score.
He just shook him off a pitch, so Gedman and Hurst are not really in complete sync on what they want to do to Dykstra.
Three and 2. And he missed for ball 4. And with 2 on and 1 out, Hernandez and Carter coming up back to back.
Hernandez, especially against left-hand pitching, tries to wait on that ball and go to the opposite field. He doesn't want to give up the center of the diamond. He'll go from the center of the diamond to left field, unless it's that real slow curveball. But usually he'll, against a left-hander, he'll use the middle of the diamond.
Interesting seeing Hernandez. He was a member of the last National League team to win the World Series, the '82 Cardinals. And he's up there now trying to get the Mets off and winging. 4-1. Interesting combination here, because the Red Sox, their pitchers allowed the fewest walks in the majors. They average just under 3. And you have a hitter up there who walks a lot in Keith Hernandez. Hurst has already walked 2 batters tonight while striking out 4. 2 balls, no strikes. Here you can see the combination, and now Bill Fisher, who holds the record for consecutive innings without a walk, is trying to go out there and solve the riddle. And I'll tell you what would probably help. If it was about 20 degrees warmer, Hurst would probably have a better grip on the ball.
Well, that could be, but he wants him to be the Bruce Hurst that everybody has seen. He doesn't want him to be pitching any different. But you can see he's put a little extra in there. He's in the jam, and now Hernandez, 2 balls and no strikes. He can really sit on a particular pitch and pretty much do what he wants with it.
Bill Fisher trying to counsel Bruce Hurst. His record, 84 1/3 consecutive scoreless innings. Bill, who had a 20-year career as a pitcher, 9 of them in the big leagues, now huddling with John McNamara, and Fish is getting on the phone to the bullpen. 2 balls and no strikes to Keith Hernandez. Wilson at second with a single and a stolen base, and Dykstra at first on the walk. Al Nipper begins to throw in the Cardinal bullpen. A throwback, but not in time to get Wilson.
Good throw by Gedman. That was one of those I'll be there plays. He saw the shortstop Owen sneak in there. There's no set play here. 2 balls and no strikes. You can see he thinks he's got a chance. And I tell you, he made it pretty close, and if nothing else, that'll cut Mookie's lead down and maybe get a chance for a play at the plate. Makes your ball club look good when you do things like that.
Harry Wendelstedt, the second base umpire, right there to call it. 2-1 to count to Hernandez. There's Harry. And a drive to right field. Evans going into the corner. The ball is hooking. He is going to one-hand it. Tagging up is Wilson, and goes to third, and the throw to Marty Barrett, who'll run it back to the infield. Oh, what a dandy play by Dwight Evans in the corner.
It ended up in foul territory, but I tell you, that was not a typical Hernandez swing. You could see he was going for the downs on 3-0, and Evans really makes a good play. Didn't have a whole lot of room between the foul line and the wall, and Mookie is able to pick up the extra base. But Evans was way over. It was a long run, but I'll tell you something, that swing by Hernandez, you won't see that, I'll bet you, 3 times a year, because he just went after a high fastball. He was going for downtown.
So Mookie Wilson at third. Lenny Dykstra had to hold at first. Marty Barrett going deep into right field to handle the throw from Dwight Evans. The wind has got Evans talking to himself. Remember, his bid for a home run was cut down, and the wind was blowing that ball away from him as he almost ran into the wall full tilt. Here's Gary Carter, grounded to second in the second inning. Ball 1.
Here's Hernandez swing. Watch him really go out after it. I mean, he's going high outside, and to pull it that far, he had one thing in mind: home run. You won't see that kind of a swing from Hernandez very often.
So another member of the Just Missed Club, and 1 ball and no strikes to Gary Carter. Dykstra at first, held on by Buckner. Wilson down the line from third. No score, bottom of the 3rd inning. Ball 2. After Carter comes a left-hand hitter, Darryl Strawberry. He struck out in the 2nd inning. 2 balls, no strikes. Got the inside part of the plate. Good pitch. 2-1.
Well, that pitch was, you have to believe that Gary was looking for something besides that fastball, because it was low inside, something he could handle.
Two and two.
That was a forker.
So Dykstra continues to hold. Mookie standing at third with 2 out. Deuces wild. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out in the third. No score.
And you have to be alive with Mookie Wilson at third and Dykstra at first. They may try to steal a run here. They gave Gary 2 swings at it, so let's see what happens. You certainly be looking for it.
Dykstra holding and fisted on the ground to Barrett. He'll feed Owen, and that's it. They get the force play on Dykstra coming down. No runs, 1 hit, a walk and a stolen base, and at the end of 3, no score. How cold is it in New York? Well, hot water bottles are in order in the Red Sox dugout. Towels wrapped around the can's head, and in the roof there are heating elements. Marty Barrett getting his hands warm. The elements in the Mets dugout as well.
You know, Vin, one of the ways you know you're about to get traded is when the manager asks you to wrap the towel around the star hitter's bat to keep it warm, and you're on the same team.
There are more towels and bundles being used in the Mets dugout as well. Meanwhile, Wade Boggs, Marty Barrett, and Bill Buckner coming up. Top of the 4th inning, no score. Strike. 0-1. On a cold night like this, if you are jammed or if you hit one off the end of the bat, you'll feel it until game 7 if there be such an animal.
Game 1 of spring training.
In there again, the Darling, who has had a high of 12 strikeouts, and he turned it in twice against the Dodgers with throwing strikes, and he's had the edge against the hitter at almost every at bat. 0-2. Got him. So Wade Boggs strikes out. He becomes strikeout victim number 3 for Darling, and the batter will be Marty Barrett.
I think it goes back to scouting report. You hear about pitchers, but until you face them, Boggs, who tries to program himself the day before and mentally picture 4 times at bat, he's just never faced Darling that much to where he can program himself.
Marty Barrett singled into the hole. Remember, he got a pitch away and poked it into right field. Tim Tuffle smothered it, but it went off his glove. Looked like a slider on the outside corner for a strike. 0-1.
That's what it was, and that's the one pitch that Marty guards against, because you watch him when he strides in, he goes right at that ball, and he'll hit it from the middle of the diamond to the right field line. They'll play him in right center field. Good man with the bat. He makes contact.
0-1, the count of Marty Barrett. 1-1. It's an Ivy League time of year. The retiring president, Chub Feeney, a Dartmouth man, will surrender the reins to a Yale man. Ron Darling went to Yale. Nobel Prize winner, was a professor of chemistry at Harvard. So it's a big year for the Ivy League. 1-2. And of course, what a year for Boston. With the Patriots in the Super Bowl, the Celtics winning the NBA, John McNamara's band in the World Series. What a year.
Good old Vinny Orlando next to him. Boy, what memories he has. He's been with the Red Sox a long time.
1 ball and 2 strikes to count. Interesting to see Don Baylor sitting in the bench gesturing to one of his teammates. 1-2 in the dirt. You know, when you think about it, with Buckner playing, Don Baylor tonight anyway is right back where he was when he played for the Yankees, on the bench with a right-hander pitching. And of course, this time it's because there's no DH in the National League Park.
But he knows he's going to get a chance. Over there, he was hoping he'd get a chance.
He'd get his hacks at Fenway. 2-2 to Marty.
He shook him all the way around.
Marty, very tough man to strike out. Only 31 times all year. However, Kirk McCaskill got him twice in 1 game in the LCS. He has 2 strikes. And chased it.
That's the pitch he tries to guard against, but they got him this time, and I would say that the Mets scouts did a pretty good job on scouting Marty Barrett.
What's very interesting with all the numbers, and you talk about it, none of it really means anything because they've never seen each other. It's not as if you're playing against American League pitchers who know you and you know them.
It's out of the strike zone, but with 2 strikes, you're going to protect against it. And again, you may hear about a pitcher, but until you face him, you have to make up your own mind.
2 down. Here's Buckner, and the only surprise strategically so far was in the first inning with Barrett, the leading base stealer at first and 1 out. And John McNamara, knowing Buckner has a bad leg, you should see him just hobbling. Barrett's not upset, gum chewing. But they didn't put a play on, and Buckner, who doesn't strike out, hit into a double play. Throws his bat and lips it into left field. Well, we were talking about how he is teaching himself to take a full swing, and as the bat gets across the plate, take the top hand off. Well, both hands came off.
He just was completely fooled and threw the bat at the ball. Now he's back, Charlie Lau, and he just throws the bat at the ball, and I tell you, running down to first base, well, they good-naturedly kid him about being Hopalong Cassidy. I tell you, when your requirement for a hotel room, the most important thing is to be near the ice machine so you can ice down your legs. That tells you something about the determination of that fellow.
And you know what? With all of his injuries, he missed only 8 games all year.
And hasn't complained yet.
No. Well, here's Jim Rice, grounded to third. They are not even bothering to hold Buckner on. I was going to say that would be a travesty if Hernandez was on the bag. Hernandez is going to play deep in back of the, can you say runner? 1 ball and no strikes. Billy Bucks giving it his best shot down there and obviously in pain. Fouled away, 1-1.
Well, a tip-off on Buckner, and admiration from everybody. He said he hurt his leg in the workout. They said, how are we going to be able to tell whether your leg is hurting? I mean, he just looks like Hopalong.
When he takes his stockings off in the dressing room, his left leg is much thinner than the right leg. His left leg has atrophied because of all the bandaging. The muscle has been unable to work. Fouled away. And with all of that, he's playing. And with all of that, would you believe he was the 2nd man on the Red Sox in stolen bases? And he was. He amassed a grand total, and he's wearing it on his back. 6.
The cliche calls the player who loves the game gamer. You're looking at 2 of the best.
Oh, yeah. We've got 2 down, top of the 4th, no score. And Jim Rice, who grounded to third, the hitter. One and 2. In the dirt to the backstop, and Buckner still can labor down to second base. So that takes him out of an easy force play.
Watch how when he starts, Buckner, it's almost like he needed jumper cables to get it going. He's watching it all the way. You know, this is one thing that Rice has done this year in choking up on that bat like he has. He just wants to hit the ball hard and put it in play. And he's done a pretty good job of it as you look at his average.
Well, that wild pitch, as you can see, is thrown by a fella who led the Mets in that area. However, it's some consolation. He has lost a possible force play, but he's not really worrying at all about Buckner scoring on a single. 2-2 to Jim Rice. Ball 3 on deck. Dwight Evans, who almost took Darling deep. Three and 2. Dwight Evans does a Jesse Barfield on deck. Fouled away. Jesse Barfield, playing for Toronto, what a great outfielder. Barfield uses the on-deck circle as a home plate, and he assumes his batting stance and tries to time the pitcher's delivery. I remember Richie Ashburn telling a story about Sal Maglie threw one at him when he was doing that in the on-deck circle.
A couple pitchers would do that.
However, he at least stays near the on-deck circle. Fastball fouled away, and he jammed him. Now that was the book. If you're going to give Rice a fastball, eat him up inside on the hands.
But you're also playing near the gas tank when you do that, because if you get that ball out a little bit, and I would say if you miss by 6 inches, which is not a whole lot to miss, and miss that 6 inches towards the plate, you're going to be behind because he can hit out of any part.
3-2 the count to Jim Rice. Buckner at second, 2 out in the 4th, no score. And he's high and away. So the Sox now have runners at first and second. That's the first walk given up by Darling. And with 2 on and 2 out, Dwight Evans coming up. We're talking about Darling having to come inside. It's the best story to come out of spring training of '86, and it's alive all year. Not to embarrass the pitcher, but it was Jim Leland of Pittsburgh who said to one of his pitchers, "You're going to have to pitch inside." And the pitcher said, "Have I been traded to Houston?" No. But once in a while, even if you have average or below average, you got to come inside. Darling got away with it. Evans hit a ball to left center that would have gone out except for the wind. Breaking ball fouled away. Dangerous too. He got it up.
That was a mistake that Evans just tried to capitalize on and just couldn't. High curveball. There's no other way to put it. You talk about Walt Hriniak, the batting coach, and you talk about Charlie Lau theory. Here's the perfect example of it. Watch how he gets back on that back foot. He'll wave that bat low and then get it back, set it on his toe in the front foot, and he's ready.
0-1. You know, Darling a year ago was a wild man, but now he has cut his walks down by a third this year.
Just didn't get it.
0-2 the count to Dewey Evans. 2 on, 2 out, no score. High fly ball into left field. Mookie says he has it. He's there. He's got it. No runs, 1 hit, 2 left. And at the end of 3.5 innings, the Red Sox nothing and the Mets nothing. Would you believe a Goodyear blimp first appeared at the 1925 World Series, won by the Pirates over the Washington Senators in 7 games. Well, here's Darryl Strawberry. He'll be followed by Ray Knight and then Tim Tuffle. No score in the 4th. And those little stats that we gave you early in the game are holding up. The first game of the World Series is usually a well-pitched game. 0-2. Strawberry has a hitch as we see Dwight Gooden with a mouthful of tobacco, who'll be going tomorrow night against Roger Clemens in game 2.
Watching Hurst between innings warming up, he threw mostly curveballs, and he started Strawberry off with the curveball, and there you see that little bit of a hitch that Vin was talking about. But if you're a good hitter, that is called a timing mechanism.
Yeah, but it's another reason why he struck out 12 times against Houston, and he struck out his first time tonight. So he is in a strikeout rut.
That's a hitch when you strike out.
Yeah, he loops that bat. 2-2. Laid off that one. 3-2 the count. Strawberry had a long month of August, and he checks in against Bruce Hurst with the count at 3 balls and 2 strikes. Darryl went 0 for August, fouls it away. In the month of August at Shea Stadium, this fellow who amassed all the votes for the All-Star game went 0 for 45 before the home crowd. That's OH. Ball 4.
That was a curveball, 3-2, so he showed plenty of respect for Strawberry. And keep in mind, big guy can run, likes to run, and has the green light. He can go anytime he thinks he gets a jump. He doesn't have to wait for a sign.
That's a second walk going into this inning, so Hurst now has walked 3 while striking out 4. He's given up 2 hits. Now Ray Knight is a good hit and run man. He does not have good speed, and if Johnson's going to use the running game, he might try that hit and run right now. Strawberry held on by Buckner. Knight was another fella, at least during the LCS, who was trying to pull everything. There's one reason why he was complaining about strikes on the outside part of the plate. because Knight was opening up on almost every pitch, and he couldn't really judge that ball away. He's a high ball hitter, and you can bet Hurst is going to try and keep it down and get him to hit it on the ground. In there at the knees for a strike. 0-1. Interesting, this baseball world. Ray Knight succeeded Pete Rose in Cincinnati. John McNamara succeeded Sparky Anderson as the manager, and the Reds won the West. That was in '79. Now they're against each other. Interesting too that Knight was third in the batting race that year. It was won by Keith Hernandez. The next year, who led the National League in hitting? Bill Buckner. And they're all in this duel. 0-1. The reason they like to play hit and run with Knight is because he hits into so many double plays. He hit into 19, second on the club to Gary Carter. No score, fourth inning. 0-2. Boy, what a lot of motion, and then the fork.
He uses it as an off-speed pitch, and very effectively, as you saw by that.
Pretty hard to wait back on that. Knight way out in front of it. 0-2.
I'd look for him right here. Strawberry's got some ideas.
Darrell. Nobody out's going to draw a throw.
Always on the bench, you say, well, they don't have the pitch out on. Gedman.
Yeah, just looked over to see.
He's checking because he'll get some help from that bench.
Strawberry doesn't go. And it's fisted foul off to the right and well out of play. So the count stays 0-2. At 6-6. When he goes, he's a little bit like Ichabod Crane, but he gets the job done. He's holding, and it's hit foul down the right field line, off speed pitch, and it looked like Knight was going to try and hit it inside out.
Oh, he was looking for that one. He's a little disappointed he didn't put it in play because he was going the right way. He was waiting on it, was going to go to the opposite field. He's got that gap between first and second, and it was all set for him. He just didn't get it.
Strawberry at first on a walk. Fourth inning, no score. Knight will be followed by Tuffle. Remember, the Mets have one stolen base, and Buckner was almost picked off by Hurst. Buck started to come off the bag.
With that shot, when you see Strawberry, his eyes darting back and forth, he's looking to Robinson for a confirmation.
0-2. Strawberry has increased his lead just a tad now. And there he goes. And the off-speed pitch fouled away. So Strawberry took maybe one more foot. If I were a scout, I'd really start to watch his lead, because that apparently was a tip-off he was going to go.
I would watch more the way he was looking ahead, looking to the eyes, because he kept darting, looking for confirmation from that's a straight steal. Now he finds the ball, but you could see something was on. He wanted to make sure, and many times that's what you look for. The base runner will tell you something.
Well, he kind of tipped the message that time. 0-2. We'll watch and see if he takes the same lead. Fourth inning, no score. The Mets have one stolen base. Wilson stole second in the third inning. Mel Stottlemyre talking to manager Davey Johnson. 0-2. He's holding. Fouled away. Bruce Hurst has been in trouble in the sense pitching out of a stretch as we look at his honor the mayor of New York, Ed Koch. 0-2 the count. Remember, the Angels had only one stolen base in their games against the Red Sox. The Mets have already gotten one stolen base in the first 3 innings, and you can bet that's going to be a major portion of their game plan. 0-2. The Red Sox are very conscious of the Mets running game, so we're going to see a lot of that. That's one reason, I guess, why Gedman has thrown out 50% of the runners. It's a tribute to those pitchers. They do a good job of holding the runners on.
Especially Hurst and Clemens. They really do a good job. He had 50% as far as throwing people out during the season. Gedman did, and 4 out of 5 in the LCS. That tells you something. You give him half a chance, he'll get the job done, and Hurst certainly does that. Throwing over there all the time, that just takes the spring out of the runner's legs. Boy, I used to like that when pitchers did that.
And the other thing is to keep applying heavy tags.
Oh, yeah.
Keep punching him in the leg. 0-2.
Punch him anywhere.
Overhand and high. Little forkball. It must be very difficult for each pitcher to get a good grip on the ball. And you just saw Hurst kind of arch his back. If you sit in the dugout for any time at all, you're going to stiffen up in the cold. The crowd is bundled up. 1 ball and 2 strikes. High pop fly on the left side, and it's Boggs calling. So Knight pops it up, 1 down. Strawberry is still at first. The batter will be Tim Teufel. And once again, we'll remind our viewers we'll be selecting the NBC Miller Lite Player of the Game at the conclusion of the ballgame.
Second baseman, Tim Teufel.
Tim Teufel struggled against Houston. He's got some sock. Remember the first game of the week we did this year. It was a tip-off on Teufel. Davey Johnson let him swing 3-0. He is a definite hit-and-run man. I mean, you can almost put a star on that now. He singled a left field, remember, in the 2nd inning. Strawberry increasing it a tad. Doesn't go. Strike.
That's the thing when you talk about scouts watching the ball club. That's what the player wants to know. Who runs, who plays hit and run, who is hot. And you just guard against it. You know what they can do. It's when. That's the thing.
No balls and 1 strike to Tim Teufel. Just a side straddle throw over to first. No big move on it. And as yet, the Mets have not tried to bunt. They have not tried to exploit Buckner at first. Yet. Fouled away down the right field line, way out of play, and the count 0-2. John McNamara, a catcher in his playing days, pitched briefly. As we mentioned, managed 5 ball clubs: the A's, San Diego, Cincinnati, California, and the Red Sox. And how sweet it must have been for him to beat California.
They compare him a lot to Gil Hodges, and I think the same expression goes for John. Controlled aggression.
0-2 to Teufel. Interesting, too, you have John McNamara, an ex-catcher, and the chief executive officer of the Red Sox, an ex-catcher. You have Davey Johnson of the Mets, a second baseman, and the general manager, Frank Cashin, was a second baseman at Loyola in Baltimore. Maybe they think a lot alike. There goes Strawberry. The pitch is missed at the plate. Darrell is in there easily.
Tough ball to handle, and I think they may have caught him a little bit by surprise. You can see Gedman blowing on those hands, but it was a tough ball to handle. Straight steal. There's that head. Looking to the bag. High throw.
Shortstop.
Watch where the ball is. One-handed. He gets behind it, but he kind of 3/4 it and didn't get that much on it.
So 5 strikeouts for Bruce Hurst. Darryl Strawberry at second, and Rafael Santana coming up. The second stolen base for the Mets. The Mets had first and second and 2 out in the 2nd inning. First and second, 2 out in the 3rd. And there's a line drive into right center. Hendu is there to handle it. No runs, no hits, no errors, and Strawberry left on base. Now we'll be right back after these messages from your local station. Here's Dave Henderson making that catch on the ball hit by Rafael Santana, and Strawberry is left in scoring position. Friends, tonight's game is brought to you by Honda All-Terrain Vehicles. Come ride with us and we'll show you America. And by UPS for express delivery to Europe and throughout the United States. UPS runs the tightest ship in the shipping business.
Vin, Ron Darling in 4 innings has made 53 pitches, 39 strikes, 14 balls. That tells you something. And he's getting his first pitch over for a strike. 10 of the 14 first pitches were for strikes. So he's in command.
And here is Rich Gedman now, then followed by Dave Henderson, and then Spike Owen.
Good first ball hitter.
Likes it up, so he gets it down. Ball 1, 1-0. It has been a long, tragic year for Rich Gedman, losing his father and stepsister, and he has held up admirably. Fouled away. Remember the concern in Boston when he took a foul ball off the bat of Dave Winfield. It hit him on the shoulder. He missed the final 3 games. But he came right back. They say he doesn't like off-speed pitches, that he's that rare left-hand hitter who likes the ball out. 1-2, and that got Carter. Now that was a classic case of Gedman getting the top hand off the bat. A classic case. And Carter got it bell rung.
Bat gets him right on his side. He comes way around. It's like a windmill. There's the hand going off, and boom. What you try to do when you get that close is get that low pitch, but that's the risk you run.
And Riniak is thinking, I told you to get your hand off the bat, but not to follow through like that.